My name is Louise Reaney. I am from LR Podiatry in Sheffield. I had no idea about marketing a podiatry practice. I had actually at that point been in practice for quite some years and had done no marketing really, other than word of mouth from the patients that already came and a very sorry little line in the yellow pages. And I had got very stuck in a rut with the kind of work that I was doing. I was finding it very unfulfilling. So I had gone on a little bit of a journey to try and find out what I could do about that. And on that journey, I discovered Jill Woods and the Practice Momentum sort of team. And first of all, was just a member of the Facebook group, this sort of Facebook that you can join for free. And there's lots of good content on there, which was great. I'm not great at devising the plan in the first place. And I could see that Jill, she was talking about the sort of practice that I was working in and what I could do to make that better for me and my patients, make it a more interesting and fulfilling place to work and somewhere that provided a much more rounded service than it was doing at the time. And so, as I say, I joined the free group and sort of started to interact with that on social media, on Facebook and Instagram and things, and then decided to actually join the Thrivers so I could get more of the content from that and the monthly meetings and just the community as well of the other healthcare professionals in there. So that's where I found it from, really. Yes, I found being part of the Thrivers Club brilliant. As a lone practitioner, as I was at the time, working by myself, it suddenly felt like I got like a little team, and that I was part of a team, and that you've got people kind of cheering you on. So it was great for the resources and learning about marketing and all the vast and different ways that you can do that. But I also just really liked getting to know the other people in it. And it was one of those places where, by doing the monthly meetings with Thrivers and seeing the people in the club and interacting with the Facebook group, when we then did get to face-to-face events, the CPD courses or conferences, there were people who you knew, even though you actually never met them in the flesh, you were like already mates. I love that side of it. And I think when you are in a very small business by yourself, that's quite an important thing, to just have other people like-minded people to bounce ideas off. The other people's clinics going well, and they've got lovely new premises, or they've got new staff, or they've had a really great idea for a marketing campaign. You're like, oh my god, that's amazing! I'm going to do that. So yeah, it was a really so much about being involved that is good. Yeah, working with Practice Momentum has changed things for me personally, on its head really. As I say, I have been a podiatrist for a lot of years, and I had got my little sort of one chair clinic with my one receptionist, and that I had that just as my children were very small. And so that sort of 15 years of them going through school, I did the two things together, the mum juggling thing, which, as we all know, is really tricky. But the practice ticked over. We weren't in any debt, and it managed to pay for us to sort of have a holiday and run the car, and and I managed to work it around the children and school most of the time, but it just wasn't. It wasn't right, And I was very bored and very fed up and feeling like, I've got to do this for another 20 years until I retire. It's just boring the arse off me. And I also realised that I wasn't really doing podiatry any favours. I wasn't the best podiatrist I could have been, and I wasn't offering full scope of practice that as podiatrists we can do, and I felt a bit bad about that really, because it's not, you don't want to be that person, do you, that's like driving the progression downwards a little bit, and so getting involved with Practice Momentum just gave me the map to get through it, to change around what I do, to learn more skills for myself, to market to different kinds of patients, that was attracting different kinds of patients into practice who were looking for different treatments rather than just the general, boring stuff. They were wanting more dynamic things. So it made me up my game. So for me personally, it has been, I love my job more now than I ever have done. I love what I do. And so I'm much more fulfilled. And I feel like I'm doing a good job now. I feel like I feel proud of it. It's also, my daughter has also joined the profession. she wouldn't have wanted to be in the profession that I was in before I joined Practice Momentum. But so now she's a, she helps me run the business. She's, 2/3 of the way through her podiatry degree. So yeah, it's turned our lives upside down really in a great way. So working with Practice Momentum has changed things for our practice totally, utterly and completely. So we, 6 months ago, moved to new premises. We took the big step of really upgrading, going from a little tiny one-chair clinic in a rented space in an accountant's office, of all places, to buying a property around the corner that we've currently got 2 treatment rooms and a big education space, and we're looking to put another treatment room in there as well. So we are, gone from a practice that just offered really old-fashioned chiropody, if you like, just sort of nail cuts and hard skin whacking and that kind of thing, to one that does lots of MSK treatments. We do verruca treatments. We do lots of nail surgery. Much more interesting, and we've got this beautiful premises that I feel really proud of, and that people, they come in and they go, oh, it's just so lovely in here, isn't it? And you think, yeah, because this is what podiatry is. This is what we do. We're good at this, and we have places like this. So yeah, it's changed the practice on its head. It's just unrecognisable from what it was sort of 5 years ago. Yeah, it's made me so much happier, because I feel like I'm doing a better job. So I feel like I'm providing a better service for my patients, giving much more well-rounded services, and that gives me so much more job satisfaction. It makes me happier and more confident. And we've now employed a new podiatrist who's a new graduate, and I feel very well equipped to mentor him, so that he's going to be, I want him to come into the profession with the absolute right attitude and realise the potential of it. So much, and like, so my daughter is now trained to be a podiatrist too. So yeah, it's given me a whole new lease of life with a career that I'd had for a long time. I feel like it's like I wished I'd known about it 10 years before, but I'm not one for regrets. So there's no point in doing that. But a little bit, it would have been good if I'd known this like 10 years ago. But yeah, it's completely changed how I think and work. Now that I've been a member of the Thrivers Club for a while, the initial problem that I had, I almost can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was just, I just didn't know. I didn't even really know what marketing was. Didn't think it needed any attention. It wasn't a problem. I was just looking to just feel more engaged with my practice. And so about that, I feel definitely that's changed immeasurably. The other thing I'd say as well is that, marketing is definitely a skill that you need, people who know about marketing need to help you, definitely. But what at LR Podiatry, we actually really enjoy the marketing side of the business, and it's something I never did. But now we actually quite enjoy thinking up campaigns, or what we're going to put in the newsletter, or we know we love a bit of social media. What we're going to do on those, and it's So the initial problem, I don't know whether there was the initial problem was just I just was so fed up, and now I'm not. So yeah, it's been great. The other benefits I have found of working with Practice Momentum, aside from the great marketing advice and all the stuff like that, is the friendships. Really, is the other members of the Thrivers. There are some really great people in there some of them who've become really quite close friends over the last 4 or 5 years, and certainly during the pandemic are a group of people that I was very glad to have in my corner, and that we could all sort of bounce ideas off and support each other and keep each other going. So yeah, I think the friendship has been a big part of it. How did I initially find out about the Thrivers Club was, I'm almost certain it was, I went to Osgo Live in 2017, so it was like October 2017. And I'd joined Facebook not too long before that. I was a bit of a late adopter of Facebook. And then I joined UK Podiatry because just it came across it. And then Osgo stuff started to come up on my feed, and I was talking about this like one-day conference for private practitioners. And there was things on there that I was thinking, oh yeah, I never realised people told you about that. So it's sort of speaking the private practice language, which was great, because often the college conference is great, but it's very it can be very NHS and very sort of clinic orientated, very clinical. So it was nice to have people just talking business speak, which was very relevant. And so I thought, well, I'll go to this. And I went there on that sort of sunny October day in Manchester. And one of the speakers was Jill Woods. And she was talking about what does your practice look like? What does your waiting room look like? Is it a nice place for your patients to sit? Go and sit in your waiting room, she said, for 15 minutes in the quiet and see if it's a nice place to sit. Mine wasn't. I realised at this point. And anyway, it was just such a simple thing. You know, she was just talking about what does your practice look like? And you think, gosh, you know, you're in it every day and you don't really think about it from the patient's point of view. You should go and sit in your patient's chair, see what they're looking at, what's over your shoulder, what's all this sort of thing. And I did that and was a little bit shocked that it wasn't as nice as I thought it was. But I remember listening to her. She's very easy to listen to, Jill, isn't she? And she talks, you know, and she was funny, and it was just a lovely talk. And so obviously then I went and tried to find her on Facebook. And so I saw her first at that, and I think in the programme for the Osgo Intervention, Practice Momentum and things. So I think that's how I found her first, from Osgo Live. What made me choose Practice Momentum over other options? I think it was because I had seen Jill speak and sort of seen her in the flesh and listened to her, and I liked how she was, and she seemed like a very nice person. And I don't know, at the time, I didn't really know about it. I was just on a little, as I say, I didn't know anything about marketing. And I think what with Practice Momentum was, it was very much about healthcare. I know it's not exclusive podiatry, but there's quite a lot of podiatrists in there. And it was just healthcare, and it was talking to people with small practices. It wasn't talking to people with big multidisciplinary clinic. It was talking to people like me that was working on their own, and how you can either move away from that if you want to, or just stay like that, but make it better for you and for your patients, and just make it a better practice. So I think that's why. I think it was the fact that she was. It seemed to be very much geared up to what I needed as a very lone practitioner. That's what drew me to it at the time. Yeah, I just think it's just been such a valuable experience, and just finding out that there's so many people out there that are as passionate about their little businesses as you are, and are, you know, enjoy working in it, and, you know, cheer each other on, and, you know, have a laugh and have a joke. It's been brilliant, and just learning. It's been great at my age as well to like learn new skills and realise that you can actually be quite good at them. And yeah, I've loved it. It's been great. So my single greatest takeaway from being part of the Thrivers Club is that if I can do it, anybody can do it. I was in my 50s. I'd been in the profession 30 years at this point. I had been doing things the same for a long time. But you know, everybody in Thrivers, and Jill especially, are just so upbeat and kind and just matey and funny, but it's all given very clear sort of plans as what you can do to change it, to make it better. So I think the biggest takeaway for me is that, you know, you just don't ever say you can't, because you can. You just can do it. You just have to do it, basically, and just get some people behind you who are going to tell you how to do it and support you.